I just think men belong to be in the workforce. And as a woman, like, I'd rather be at home. I think that modern day feminism has really killed our society.
Okay. So you just said, as a woman, I'd rather be at home. As a man, I'd rather be at home too, right? I don't think that an instinctive yearning from yourself to be at home is indicative of women having some like prescriptive purpose of being at home. I think it's indicative of maybe you being a little lazy. Michaela, go ahead and take it away. Tell us why you support Trump. You have my full undivided attention.
Yeah, so I support him on his DEI stance. I support the deportation of illegal immigrants, and I support his stance on men and women's sports.
I don't know. We've been talking about the deportation a lot recently. Maybe I'll try to hone in on the other two, DEI and women's sports.
Yeah.
Which one should I go with first? Okay, this next question will determine which one I go with first. Do you endorse traditionalism, like the man going out, working, providing, and while the woman stays at home, cooks, cleans, raises the kids?
Yeah, we can go that route.
Is that something you support?
I mean, I can see how it can be difficult for a lower income household to achieve that. But yes, in an ideal world, I think that that is the more, I guess, way you would want to live.
Boom. Okay. Then we're going to hinge on your first statement saying that you agree with Trump's DEI stance, and you'll see why. Tell me, what is Trump's DEI stance that you agree with?
Okay, so my understanding is DEI should be based on merit and not the color of somebody's skin. So we shouldn't try to adjust standards just to get a minority group to be in a certain career field.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you think that functions of society should be based on merit instead of somebody else's skin, how come you think functions of the family unit should be based on gender compared to merit? In fact, I would argue that the only real world application of this notion of DEI, opting to value somebody's race or gender over their merit or qualifications, the only time that's actually true is within conceptions of traditionalism that tell you, regardless of your qualifications, if you're a man, you should be the one working and providing. And regardless of your qualifications, if you're a woman, you should be staying at home, cooking, cleaning, and raising the kids.
That's just a lifestyle preference. That's not saying you have to do it that way. That's just a couple's lifestyle preference and how they choose to live.
Well, I mean, you said that would be the most optimal lifestyle preference for families.
Yeah, but that's just my preference. I'm not saying that everybody has to have that preference.
I actually reject that was what you said, because you started off your statement by saying, I understand that it'd be difficult for low-income families, but hopefully at some point in the future, we could get to this optimal like family dynamic, meaning that you weren't just specifically talking about yourself, or else you wouldn't have made an acknowledgement of how difficult this would be for low-income individuals.
Okay, I'll go with your argument then. Yeah, I think society functions better when men are the sole provider and women stay at home.
Right, exactly. See, I don't know why you just didn't come out of the gate swinging with that, given that you already told us that, right? And once again, this is the one and only true application of this contortion of DEI, where you want to value somebody's immutable characteristics of their being, such as gender and the circumstance, over their qualifications of merit, and you say the men should go out and have this job because they're a man.
I think you're trying to connect two things that aren't the same, though.
Yeah, you're literally telling individuals what they should do and what they'd be good at doing based upon their gender compared to their qualifications.
How is saying somebody should be hired on their merit and if they're best fit for the job and not their skin color? Like, I just don't understand how you're not connecting those dots there and disagreeing
I'll make
with
it clear, because you just told us that the men should be the ones that are going out and working, meanwhile the women should stay at home, meaning the only individuals that you think should be considered for being hired in your idealistic worldview are men.
Yeah, correct.
Right, exactly. Right? Do we see how that works? So you're saying the barrier for consideration for being hired on a job
because
should start
if
off
a
with
man is
meeting
better
this
at a
qualification
job,
of being
then
a
yes,
man,
he
regardless
should
of the
get the job.
qualifications? No, it has nothing to do with being better at it, and all to do with the fact that they're a man.
No, it has 100% to do with being better at the job.
So do you
what
think
do you
that,
mean?
Do you think that men are, like, for instance, better at leading than women?
Yeah.
Can I have an argument for that, please?
I think that men are more logical, less emotional. I think that in certain cases, like the police and army, they are better suited physically to do those jobs. I'm saying women, yeah, they can do some jobs better than men, but for the majority of jobs in the workforce, I think men are better at that.
Sure. We're going to go ahead and start off with your first two claims, stating that you believe men are more logical and less emotional than women. I'm going to be very clear when I say this. You are wrong. And here's why. When we, look at IQ scores, women have a higher IQ score on average compared to men. What this means is that they're better at logical functions of thought processing, right? And we see that this is true by observing empirical outcomes in society, such as
Do you
the
think
fact
that
one
women
moment,
are more emotional than men, though?
No, I disagree with that too. Would you allow me to finish
Okay.
speaking?
That's crazy.
Okay, so should I continue to describe to you why I think that men are less logical than women, or should I like restart and tell you why I don't think women are more emotional than men?
I mean, it's a proven fact women are more emotional than men.
Okay,
like,
what's the
that's
proof?
just in our fucking, like, DNA biology.
So what's the proof for this fact?
Because I'm a woman and I know that we're just more emotional.
Okay,
Like,
so you're saying
have you been around women?
so you're saying that you're a woman, you're emotional, therefore all women are just as emotional as you. So
I
no,
don't
that's
think I'm like
actually
an
not how it works.
outlier in women. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and break this one down. If women are so much more emotional than men, then why do men dominate empirical fields that are obviously indicative of a high level of emotion? Like, for instance, if women are more emotional than men, then how come 92% of violent crimes are committed by men when violent crimes are necessarily an emotional response to external stimuli? And if you want to say it's because they're physically stronger, this would also include violent crimes that don't necessitate physical strength, such as cyberbullying with threats of violence, arson, or fire gun related violent crimes. If women are more emotional than men, then how come men are more prone to other emotionally dictated actions, such as drunk driving, such as gambling, such as reckless driving? If women are more emotional than men, then how come women outperform men in fields in which are indicative of lower levels of emotion, such as performance in school at all levels, or even in some STEM-related fields, such as surgery? The American Medical Association, in conjunct with the Journal of the American Medical Association, did a study on 1.5 million worldwide patients, and they determined that if you're operated on by a female compared to a male, then it is the case that you're less likely to experience negative post-operative outcomes and death. Why might we expect this? It's because biologically speaking, women are actually designed to deal and handle stress better than men. They have thicker spines on their dendrites in their neuroanatomy, right? And neuro studies and doctors have perpetually reconcluded that they have these thicker spines on their dendrites because of evolution designing them to possess the capability to give birth, and they need to be able to deal with higher levels of pain and higher levels of stress during childbirth. So evolution gave them that edge, right? And the empirical outcome of this is better performance under stress and dealing and coping with one's emotion. So just to kind of recap everything that we've just said, if women were more emotional than men, we wouldn't expect men to commit 92% of violent crimes. We wouldn't expect men to be more likely to abuse hard drugs as an unhealthy coping mechanism, but they are. We wouldn't expect men to be more prone to drunk driving or reckless driving, but they are. We wouldn't expect men to be more prone to self-unaliving, but 75% of suicides are committed by men, so on and so forth.
Yeah. So, I think that, men do a better job in jobs that have like a physical aspect to them, like the oil fields, again, army, military, anything like that. As far as like being able to handle stress better, I have heard this study. I have heard this argument before. And, I get it with the childbirthing stuff. I would like to read more into that, but I'm going to stand firm with my belief that I just think men belong to be in the workforce. And as a woman, like, I'd rather be at home. I think that modern day feminism has really killed our society.
Okay, so you just said, as a woman, I'd rather be at home. As a man, I'd rather be at home too, right? I don't think that an instinctive yearning from yourself to be at home is indicative of women having some like prescriptive purpose of being at home. I think it's indicative of maybe you being a little lazy, right? Like myself, I'm also lazy. That's why I want to be at home. But anyways,
I'm not lazy.
now I'm going to go ahead and respond to the other thing. So I gave you like a full breakdown and like reduction on how it's unequivocally false that women are more emotional than men by giving you studies, biologically speaking, about how they have thicker,
and I think that some of the
spine densities,
men,
right? Which evolution designed in them to be less emotional, to deal and manage stress better. And then we also went over all of those other empirical outcomes. You absolutely absolutely just ignored them all and then told me, well, men are physically stronger on average compared to
Well, and
women,
I
which
think
could
a lot
serve
of
as a
that has to
helping
do with
hand
men
within
killing
certain
more
like
people is the
workforces.
testosterone
However,
that
it
they-
is the case, right, that physical strength doesn't make you less emotional. In fact, some of the physically strongest people I know are the most emotional. So here's where we're at. We're at a point where you are just re-suggesting that women are more emotional than men. You have no evidence, no reason, no argument whatsoever. But then when I give you all the evidence, all the arguments, and all the reason in the world to believe that you're wrong, you brush it off. What that tells me is that this runs deeper than fact. This runs deeper than logic. This runs deeper than reason, and runs straight into biases that you likely picked up at some point in your youth that you treat as fact. And I'm going to be honest, it's embarrassing.
Okay, so I was trying to respond to your argument that men commit all the murder. Well, I think that has a lot to do with testosterone. I do think women are more of thinkers. Like, I do think we think about a lot more and we get more into an emotional level. So that could be a reason why men kill more. To be honest, I haven't done a lot of research on why men kill more. So I don't have a good argument for you on that.
Well, you're actually not giving an argument that men are less emotional. You're just describing potential reasons why they're actually more emotional.
I'm saying men are more less emotional just because of the studies that I have, or I guess, you've debated with
Actually, let
Charlie
me just
before.
ask
He
you
gave
this
you that
question.
same argument.
Let me just ask you this question. Is violent crime emotional?
It can be, but it can also not be.
So in what circumstances is violent crime logical?
Well, I don't think violent crime is right at all, first of all. But,
So if it's not
like
logical,
a
then it's
premeditated
emotional.
murder, I think would be different than like I'm super mad at this person, now I'm going to kill him. You know what I mean? Like something that's planned versus that.
But premeditated murder, is that going to be based off of like some like line of like logical thinking, or is that going to be like deeper rooted within some subliminal like emotional response?
I mean, it's probably deeper rooted. But I think it's different than like a spontaneous murder. I don't know. I've never murdered. I couldn't
How about
tell
this?
you.
Can we agree for the most part that violent crime is emotional?
I would say for the majority, yes, but I think sometimes
Okay.
no,
If
if it's
for
like
the
a
most part-
business thing, you know what I mean?
If for the most part violent crime is emotional, then why do men commit 92% of violent crime given they're less emotional?
Again, I think it's a testosterone driven thing.
That's not a counter
I
argument.
just think
That's an
women are like
explanation.
less capable of killing, maybe. I don't like that's a tough one because I never really
wait,
put myself
wait.
in like the brain of a murderer.
Wait,
like you're
wait,
asking
wait.
me to
Are
do
you saying
something
that
that I
maybe?
just can't.
Are you saying that maybe like women are less capable of violent crime than men because they're more
just think
likely
we're more
to engage
gentle in nature,
because they're
so-
more likely to engage in reasonable, non-emotional thought processes?
I think women have a lot more empathy, and yeah, we wouldn't kill because we're just not like, you know what I mean? Like we are more emotional like that. So I think to kill is just.
Oh wait, so you just said
less
that
of
women
a-
are more empathetic than men, so they're better at like placing themselves in the shoes of others and seeing the world from their perspective. Isn't that what a
I
leader
would
is
agree with
supposed
you
to
on
do?
that. I'm sorry.
Isn't that a good quality of leadership?
Yeah, I would agree with you on that.
Okay, so you just like we just summed up this argument about you attempting to convince me that men are better at leading than women by concluding
I still think men
that
are a
women
stronger
possess
leader,
good
though, just
qualities
because of the way they're
leadership.
perceived, though. I think women are taken less seriously.
Oh, okay. So would you say that because there's anti-black racism in America and on the global stage, that white individuals are better at leading than black individuals because of perceptions through said racism?
I never said that. I think that black individuals can be just as good at leading.
Okay, even though there does exist societal stigmas and negative perceptions surrounding black individuals in positions of power and leadership, right? And
I didn't say that.
Well, that's a fact, right?
We had a black president, Obama. What do you mean?
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, we did have a black president. Obama was our president. This doesn't change the fact that these stigmas exist.
I mean, I personally don't see the stigmas. Like what?
So
what
then
are the
why are
stigmas?
95% of Fortune 500 CEOs white?
That's a great question. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Your
I
two
would
options are
assume-
to be a racist or to say that racial stigmas exist, leading to a
I don't think
disproportionate
those are the
amount of
only two
leaders that are white.
options.
And no, it is. Like you either have to say that white people are better at leading than black people, or black people have been systemically disadvantaged to exist in positions of leadership.
I don't think they've They have
what's the
the
third
same
option?
opportunities as everybody else, though.
So then
How are they?
so then how do you explain like a disproportionate amount of white individuals in like all leadership positions in this country, right? I find there to be two possible explanations. White people are better at leading than black people, and black people have been systemically limited from having those positions. Obviously, the idea that white people are better at leading than black people is fucking false. Meaning
That's
that
crazy.
meaning that the only thing that we're left with is the notion that there are systemic limiters on black individuals, preventing them
Well,
from
what are
having
the
as much
systemic?
access to positions of power as white individuals. And if you reject that too, what is your explanation for the notion that there's significantly more white individuals in positions of power disproportionate when compared to black individuals?
I mean, I think there are less black people in our country, correct?
Yeah, but I said
Like, what is
disproportionate accounting for population.
so what is the ratio if you compare how many black people are in the country compared to white people, then how does that compare to how many are in positions of leadership?
Like, for instance, Fortune 500 companies, 5% of Fortune 500 CEOs are black. Meanwhile, 14% of Americans are black, meaning that they're disproportionately underrepresented within CEO positions of Fortune 500 companies.
I'm so sorry. Say that one more time. I'm just trying to like wrap my head.
5% of Fortune 500 CEOs are black. 14% of the American population is black, meaning they're underrepresented proportionately speaking to their
By
population
like nine.
in
Okay.
those CEO
I see what you're
positions,
saying.
right? So what
Okay.
causes that?
Well, I couldn't tell you what causes that.
Right. It's that they have less opportunity to be in those positions to begin with.
But how do they have less opportunity when there's nothing holding them back from like
Well,
they
there
have all the
is.
same rights.
So I would say what would cause there to be less opportunity for black individuals to be in positions of power, including CEO positions of Fortune 500 companies, would be lower socioeconomic standards caused by slavery and its aftermath and systemic racism today, and B, like social pressures and social stigmas surrounding black individuals in those positions.
Okay, I see what you're saying there. I don't have a good debate for you on this one. I do agree that I think that they do have a harder time just because of that, systemic racism. I think that's what you said.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Right.
but I still think they have all the same opportunities, and maybe they do have to work a little bit harder to get out of being in those shitty situations.
Right,
And
which means that they have less overall opportunity, right? That's just how we use the word opportunity. Definitionally speaking, it would follow via the existence of systemic racism and your acceptance of those facts, right? Which would lead to the conclusion, right, that because of systemic racism, individuals are more likely to criticize a black individual in a position of leadership compared to a white individual. And your last argument for why men are better at leading than women had to do with those same optical perceptions of women in positions of leadership compared to men. So if you'd say because they're more likely to criticize women in these positions, therefore women are worse at leading, would you therefore also say that because society is more likely to criticize black individuals in these positions, that therefore black individuals are worse at leading?
I mean, I was a Democrat 3 years ago. I thought Obama did great. So I don't.
So you want it, right? Right. And I agree. You shouldn't yield that conclusion from the fact that they're more likely to be criticized. So why should you yield that conclusion? Because of the fact that women are more likely to be criticized.
I guess I'm just like a realist on like I'm a realist on how society thinks. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to change the game. I'm just trying to understand it.
Well, I mean, I just pointed out a contradiction because you're using this basis of like this disposition of society to be misogynistic to yield that conclusion that therefore women are worse at leading, but you're not using a similar disposition of society to be racist to yield the conclusion that therefore black people are worse at leading. Right, and I find that to be contradictory.
I'm not saying black people
right?
are worse at leading.
Right, exactly. I'm happy you're not, but you just therefore also shouldn't say that because of this reason women are worse at leading. In neither scenario should we use one society's disposition to be misogynistic or racist to yield the conclusions that therefore women are worse at leading or BIPOC individuals are worse at leading.
I mean, I think that women can lead. Like, I'm not saying that they're like it's a be all end all to that argument. I think there are some women who are super strong and could absolutely lead. I just think that, overall, I think women would be a lot happier and society would function a lot better if more women would just stay at home and more men do go to work and be like that provider role. You know what I'm saying?
Why? Why do you think society would be happier? I mean, last time we tried that, women ended up just like fucking dosing themselves with Quaaludes because of how fucking depressed they were because of the way that society treated them. Right? Are you sure you want to try that again?
I don't exactly think that that's exactly how it went down, but there was a lot of crazy stuff happening in that time. They were also giving women lobotomies, so.
Right. So why would we possibly want to go back to that?
But I would argue that more people are on depressants now than they were back then.
Right. And those antidepressants actually save lives. Maybe that's why 75% of suicides are committed by men. Meanwhile, a minority are committed by women, considering the fact that women are more likely to go to therapy, seek professional help, including in some circumstances, antidepressants.
Yeah, I mean, I was on antidepressants for a long time, and I don't like any of that. I think that it's horrible for you. I think that there should be an alternative to antidepressants. I think they really mess up people. You know what I mean?
So psychologists and doctors have seemingly come to an understanding consensus that it is best to try to do like first lifestyle changes, so on and so forth, before getting on antidepressants. However, right, inevitably, right, if your options are limited, then it is a good idea to get on antidepressants, as antidepressants save lives in those scenarios.
I mean, I think that they can.
I
I think a lot of people are like being overdiagnosed with it, though.
Okay, well, are you a medical health professional?
No, I'm not. This
So then
is
how
just
do you
my
possibly know
personal
that?
opinion. Because I can have a personal opinion about it.
Yeah, but just because you have an opinion doesn't mean it's a right opinion.
No, I'm not saying it is. It's just my opinion, though.
Okay, so wait, are you okay with like believing in things that are false?
I mean, I think that a lot of people have opinions that maybe other people think are false, but
Okay, and a lot of people also drunk drive, right? Does that mean you should drunk drive too?
I don't know.
Right, so just because other people
But
have opinions that
people
are false
do.
doesn't mean that you should strive to also have false opinions.
No, I don't strive to have false opinions, but just in my own personal experience, I think that people can get misdiagnosed. And I don't think that that's like a crazy thing to say.
I just like fail to see, right, like any like reasonable facts that you like know that you could share with me
Yeah,
to
okay.
yield a
Well, because
conclusion
I was
of, like,
diagnosed at a very young age.
a vast rate of overdiagnosis.
Well, I mean, I was diagnosed pretty quickly, like within 2 therapy appointments, and they put me on an antidepressant. You know what happened to me? I turned into a zombie. It was horrible. And, you know, it just makes you not be yourself. So if it happens to me, I'm assuming that it would happen to a lot of other people just on how quickly it happened to me. So, and I don't think that that's like a crazy conclusion to draw.
I think that we're getting off topic because we were supposed to be debating why do you
I agree.
think women should stay at home and men should go
I
to
agree.
work. So why do you think we should endorse a traditional structure such as this? So, like society, like
I mean, you
for
don't have to
society-wide?
endorse it. Like I said, it's all on your personal preference. And I think if enough people also back that personal preference, then that's the majority. So,
Yeah,
but
but
people, like I'm all for
you're
people doing what they want to do.
Well, you're bouncing between saying that this is just merely your personal preference and saying this is the way that society as a whole should operate. So which one is it? Is this the way that society as a whole should operate, or is this just merely your personal preference?
I mean, you asked me what my personal preference is, but I'm all for people deciding how they want to live, however they want to live.
Okay, all right. So I think that's a concession because earlier you were arguing the opposite, but I'm glad to hear
It's
that
not
you
a
now.
concession. You asked me what my opinion was, and I gave it.
Well, to start, you gave the opinion that this is the way that society should operate, and now you're giving the opinion that this is just the way that you personally want to operate.
Yeah, but those are one and the same. I'm just one person with my own opinion. I can't like speak for all of things or saying like
The way that
you know,
society as a whole should operate is obviously not identical
I
to the
don't
way
get
that
to
you should
decide. I'm
operate.
just one
What?
person, so take that for what it's worth.
Wait,
Like-
whoa, I'm so sorry. Those are not the same thing whatsoever, right? Like for instance, like I think the way that I should operate is to eat maybe 2 meals a day and get 8 hours of sleep every night. This doesn't mean that I think the way that everyone in society should operate would be identical to that. So just because I think that something is like preferable for myself doesn't mean that I would think that same thing is preferable for everyone.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Right. So so once again, that just goes to show that no, what you think is preferable for society is distinct and different from what you think would be preferable for you.
Okay, yeah, but that's what I would think would be preferable to society. But like what I was saying, I'm
Now you're
just
going
one
back to
person,
now you're
and
going
it's
back to
like
preferable for society. So why do you think this would be preferable for society?
I just think that women make that. Are we? Wait, are we still debating? I'm so sorry. Are we still debating the women staying at home and the men working?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's just what I believe. I think that it's a typical Christian kind of point of view. And it's not like a crazy like concept. So
Okay, so you endorse quote unquote Christian things for society?
Christianity, yeah.
Okay, so then why do you support a non-Christian president that is actively eroding and infringing upon Christian values every damn day?
Okay, give me one example.
Just one? Really?
I mean, you can give me a couple if you want.
Okay, yeah. He boasted about sexually exploiting little girls. Is that Christian?